Hello? Alright. Hi everyone, I'm Luke. I'm a graduate student in chemistry. And can we all just give everyone another round of applause? I couldn't make the dress rehearsal, so that was just amazing. So everyone who's behind the scenes or been up here was like amazing. And so if you're just sitting at a table and there's somebody who you don't know, could you please introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so like I said, my name's Luke, and so I'm just going to talk to you guys for a little bit. And so I just want to start by saying, like, everyone likes a good heist movie, right? Like, I think the first time I saw Ocean's 11, it was awesome. Like, I hope I'm not spoiling anything. Everyone's seen that, right? So, basically, there's this guy, Danny Ocean, and he gets the crew of, like, super criminals together. So, like, the smartest criminals in, like, the technology guys, like Don Cheadle, like, Bernie Max, like, the really slick con artist, and they got everyone. And, so Danny Ocean and his crew of 11, they go in and they're going to try to rip off this casino owner, Terry Benedict. And, you know, there's this sense of adventure. Like, if you could just get that one big heist, and you get that one thing that's worth everything, you know, you could go put everything on the line just to get that. And so near the end of the movie, there's this twist that Danny Ocean, you know, he's not in it just for the money. Because he's actually in it for his ex-wife, Tess Ocean, who's the girlfriend of Terry Benedict. And so he puts this ultimatum to Terry Benedict, like, he can keep all of his money, or he can give up, like, Tess, this ex-wife of Danny Ocean. And, you know, I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but Danny Ocean is George Clooney, and Tess Ocean is Julia Roberts, so obviously, you know, he gets the girl. But so the question I want to ask you is, like, so what are you really willing to put everything on the line for? So what's your Tess Ocean? And then what's that thing that you would do anything for? And so the Bible verse I want to share with you tonight is Matthew 13:44-46, and it says, the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy he went and sold everything he had to buy the field. And again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for a pearl of great worth. And when he found it, he went and sold everything he had to buy it. So what's the great treasure in your life, and what's the pearl that is more worthy or worth more than everything you have? So I think it's like a really abstract question, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's something that's so hard to think about. When I heard that question when I was in college, I was like, I'm just trying to pick my major or my classes. Like, you know, this had nothing to do with my daily life. But if you lose sight of the bigger question, it makes these little things a lot harder to deal with. And so today I really want to ask you, what are you going to put at the center of your life? What are you going to make the central focus of your life? So we look around and we see all kinds of people putting different things at the center of their life. So just for example, you can put pleasure, you can put career, you can put acceptance at the center of your life. And let's see how they work out. So for pleasure, you know, when I was in college, I went to Germany, and I think anytime anybody asked me to do something, I was there. So it could be good stuff like playing soccer or ping pong, or it could be like going to bars on Tuesday night, or like you know, a club on Saturday. It didn't matter. You know, I was definitely going to make it there. And if you've seen, you know, everyone knows that, you know, how the story ends. You know, if you look at the guys walking home from the party without the girls, like they're all rejected. But I think what's scarier is when you do get the girls, or when you do get the acceptance, like, how do you feel? And my own experience is pretty empty. Like, you get the girl and all your guy friends are congratulating you, and inside you're like, wow, that was it? Like, that was what I was like really seeking after. And then I think Joey said it best when she said, she's pretty good for a pre-med, or what did she say, like, the best the pre-med can be. And then she felt the emptiest that she has ever been. Like, that's the scariest thing. When you don't get something, you're like, okay, but when I get it, I'll be fine. But when you do get it, and you're still empty, then you know that's not the right focus for your life. And then if you're looking for acceptance, which I hope I'm not being racist, but like, for Asian Americans, the acceptance of your family can be really important. And so you're looking at your parents and you're looking, what are they looking for? And can I give them that? Like, so they're looking for a doctor. And so you're going to be, I'm going to be the best doctor I can be. Or maybe they're Christians, and you're like, oh, I'm going to be the best Christian I can be, because you're putting other people's perspective or hopes for you at the center of your life. So, how do all these work out? And so that's why I wanted to share this verse with you today. And the other thing I want to share with you is Martin Luther King Jr. once said, if a man has not found something worth dying for, he's not found something worth living for. So the point is, it's a little extreme, but like if you haven't found that thing that really brings you passion and brings meaning to your life, you haven't quite found, what's going to give you purpose. And so last spring break, I went with the FSCCC mission trip to Buffalo, and it was a really great experience. And so we were on the University of Buffalo campus. It was Mike Chin and I. And we were going out and asking people about this song by Bruno Mars, Grenade. You guys know it? Okay, I don't want to sing it. So it's like, I will catch a grenade for you. I will put my hand on the blade for you. And the point is, like, your true love is, you would do anything for them. And so we were asking people, like, in the middle of their lunch, would you catch a grenade for this person that you're sitting next to? And so some people were like, what? Like, no way. And then other people were like, yeah, like, we're like family. I would definitely, I would make a big sacrifice for them. And so that's really cool. And it makes me think of this, it made me think of this verse. And the other thing this verse made me think of was, there was a USA Today poll back in the 90s, and it asked the 1%ers, like the richest people, like, what would you pay for certain things? And so they had like true beauty, which is pretty cheap. So people said only $83,000. And then they said eternal youth. That was a lot more valuable. It was like $259,000. Then they were like true love. Oh man, that's kind of worth a lot. So it was $487,000. And then finally, there were some more in there, but finally it was a place in heaven. And they were like $640,000. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. But it's also pretty funny because no amount of money can buy any of these things. Like, just by what all the advertising for cosmetics tells you, they're not going to make you be a true beauty or be eternally young. And there's nothing that can give you the place in heaven. On earth we're playing with this earthly money, but it's never going to buy us spiritual happiness. So what's this verse talking about then? If we sell all these things, like we can't buy a place in heaven, then what's the point of selling all these things? And that's why that points you to the true meaning of this verse. This verse is not talking about you and I making huge sacrifices to be with God. It's talking about God making huge sacrifices to be with you. So if you look here, the man in this verse is God, and he's looking for a treasure in a field. And the merchant is looking for a pearl of great worth. And that treasure and that pearl is you in the audience, right? The thing that he would give up everything for is you. And, we've heard it so many times tonight, but when God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die on earth, and if you ask Jesus Christ, what brings passion to his life? What brings meaning to his life, he would have one answer, and that's you. Even before you were born, even before you knew who he was, even before you loved him, he already loved you so much that he lived his whole life for only one reason, to build a bridge between you and God. The Bible tells us in Luke 19:10 that the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. And James said, John 3:16 said, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life." And then right after that, John 3:17, he didn't come to condemn the world, but to save the world. The only thing that gave Jesus passion in his life was building a connection between you and him. So what did he do? He came down and lived the perfect life as God and as man. And then he suffered the worst death that he could. He stood before people as a crowd yelled, "Crucify him." That God himself took that pain. And then he went on the cross and he died and was separated from God his Father. And he did all of this. He gave up everything for the ultimate treasure, the ultimate pearl. And that's you. So the question I asked earlier, what's the passion for your life? I don't know how to answer that. I don't know all your desires. But I do know that when you let Jesus' love be the passion at the center of your life, somehow everything falls into place. I call it the Melinda Gates effect. So, you guys know Bill Gates? So it's like, when I was growing up, he's like the billionaire. He's like the richest person in the world. He's got everything. So I was kind of wondering, so what brings passion to his life? Is it like computers or something? I don't know. Maybe some computer science people can tell me. And, but then all of a sudden, now, if you asked that back then, you would be like, oh, it's about like conquering the world and everything. But now, what do you think brings passion to his life? And the answer is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So he's out there talking about how they're going to eradicate polio, they're going to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, they're going to build computer science buildings. and what happened? You know, what changed between when we were young and now? And the answer is Melinda Gates. Like when he fell in love, like that love really transformed him. And it turned him from somebody just being an ultra-capitalist into someone being extremely capitalist, but also changing other people's lives. And so in the same way, I can't explain why, but when you put Jesus' love at the center of your life, it transforms you. And it doesn't change who you are. You're still going to be the same person with all the same kind of desires, but it just points them in a different direction. And so like Melinda Gates' love pointed Bill Gates' capitalism and extreme like skills at whatever he does in a different direction. Jesus' love at the center of your life will let all the other questions fall into place and point them in the right direction. So when you have to make a commitment to a career when you graduate, when you have to make a commitment to a spouse, all those questions, instead of them being at the center of your life and being really confusing, instead they fall into place. So when you put Jesus at the center of your life and you go into his, and you be part of his family, it's like being in a family where you're not scared of what the parents are going to say. And on earth right now, with your own parents, it makes that relationship a lot easier. Because instead of thinking, oh man, like if I show them that I really don't want to go to med school, I want to, I don't know, what's the worst nightmare? Like, be an artist? I don't know. Like, honestly. Sorry. If anyone wants to be an artist, like, definitely. But the point is, you're not scared of what they're going to say, because your parents don't define your value anymore. Jesus defined your value in the ultimate act of love by dying on the cross. He said that you're a treasure, you're a pearl of great worth, and that makes the relationship with your parents much easier. And you can just accept the love that they have for you without worrying about their opinion of you defining who you are. And in the same way with your friends, you know, you're not going to have to look for all the love from your friends. Instead, the love that Jesus gave you is going to fill you, and you're going to be able to serve other people. You're going to bring, and guess what? When you serve other people and when they see love flowing out of you, they come closer to you. And then all your worries about like being accepted are moot anyway, because you're going to be loved. And your career, like, or your grades right now, like instead of having all that stress about like, oh, what happens if I get a B? You know, or I don't know, what's bad grade, like A minus? So instead of having all these fears about what that says about you, the hard thing about school will be what should have been the hard thing in the first place, like learning. Instead of like, oh man, like, am I going to look stupid in class when I ask this question? Or, you know, like, what is that other person next to me thinking when I ask them something stupid? And then you can just concentrate on just learning. And so what putting Jesus' love at the center of your life does is it lets everything else fall into place. And so today I just want to ask you, what's the center of your life? And if you know that you're a treasure and a pearl of such great worth that Jesus would give up everything he had to buy you, then how can you react today?